Mike, we want to start off by talking to you a little bit about how this season has gone, and especially in league, it's been a very successful one. What do you view as the key points to your big success in league?
Well, I think one of the main factors in our success in league so far is the preseason that we played. We played a very tough preseason, as Pat did also, and he had the roughest schedule he's had all year, or in years. And our players were able to get up for those games and play very strong there. Then when we got into league, the loss to Hanford was a big factor in us getting ready to play league, and we've gotten things together. Our defense has played well, and we've been able to capitalize on some mistakes that teams have played, or teams have done that we've played.
A lot of teams have tried to stop Lewis early by going to more men on the line, for example, an 8-man front. Tulare Western does that sometimes almost as a natural formation for them. Does that mean that it's a little bit harder for Lewis early to run against Tulare Western?
Well, the 8-man front is Tulare Western's base defense, and they've been running for years. And when we go to play a defense like that, we know we have to simplify what we do and make certain of how we're going to block it, and so that we don't confuse ourselves. Yes, an 8-man front is harder to run against. Hopefully we can do some things to open up the run, and if not, then we'll throw the ball.
You have to go back 5 weeks to the Hanford game, to a game where your team has really been under a lot of pressure in the second half. Tonight's game could be a lot closer. Is that a problem for your team, not having played a high-pressure game in some time?
The problem of being intense for 4 quarters is definitely there. We haven't had our starters haven't played the 4th quarter in any of the league games. But we, as coaches, recognize that fact and try to make it as intense as possible. And in our practices, we try to simulate the intensity. And this game, though, I don't think anyone's worried about being intense or anyone's worried about playing 4 quarters. They know it's going to be a ball game from start to finish.
All right, Mike, thanks a lot. Phil?
Coach Plummer, they talked about the 8-man line that Tulare Western uses. That's going to be a big factor for you in stopping Lewis early. Do you feel you have an advantage stopping him tonight because you play that so often?
Well, as alluded to earlier, that a lot of teams make special adjustments to stop Lewis early and bring up 9- and 8-man fronts and therefore get out of their defensive scheme. As Mike said, that we're a base 8-man front stack, 44 stack, which we play as a basic 8-man front defense, and we play well against the run. We've played well in league against the run, and all year long, with exception maybe the Redwood ball game, we have stopped the run pretty well. So it's a thing that it's not going to be, unnatural to our football team to play an 8-man front, which we do all the time.
Earlier in the year, you struggled a lot, but the last 3 games you've come on very strong, and I think surprised a lot of people. What's been the reason for that?
Well, early in the year, as Mike said, we have played the toughest preseason that we've ever had since I've been here, and I've been here 10 years. And we played with a young football team. We start 5 seniors, 6 at times, and the rest of them are sophomores and juniors. And it takes a while for those young kids to grasp the, idea of the game and the basics of the ball game, especially on the offensive end of the ball. And we've come along and improved and improved and improved about the right time. And in the last 3 ball games, we put a lot of offensive points on the board and executed well. And we still have areas to improve upon, but that's the basic thing. We're young and we're just starting to come of age.
This must be the youngest team you've ever had.
In depth-wise, yes. Our talent is young. Basically, with enough sprinkling of older guys in there, seniors like Hinojosa and Anaya, but guys like Henderson and sophomores do a fine job for us and are good athletes, and it's going to be nice to have those kids back.
Maybe if I could just ask both coaches one final question. Is there any problem about getting too up for this game and playing beyond yourselves, being too excited?
Well, I think any time that you try to play on total emotion, you're going to be in trouble. Because then anytime you lose concept of what has to be done, you will make mistakes that you normally don't make. We had that happen to us in the Hanford ball game. And so I think you can be too enthusiastic. I think you can be overboard. You've got to play with a lot of intensity and enthusiasm, but you have to play under control. At least that's the way we're stressing the fact.
Exactly. We're talking practice. You got to, emotion's fine and it's all well and good, but you got to keep your mind on what's at hand and your assignments and execution and that type of thing, and you can't let that emotion affect your play. You got to make it a positive thing rather than a negative thing.
Okay, I know Dave's looking forward to calling the game. I know you're both ready to get at it, so good luck to both coaches.
Thank you very much.
Jerry, And when you do that, it doesn't take very long to get the 23 yards that he gets to tie, that he needs to tie Lavelle Thomas's all-time record. Thomas set that record in 1981 for Tulare Western when he rushed for 1,479 yards. Right now, Lewis Early, 1,456 yards. So when he gets his 24th yard tonight, he will be the all-time rusher for Tulare Union, for that matter, but also for the entire city of Tulare in the running back department. And Early has been up over 100 yards in almost every game this year. In fact, he's been held yards, I believe, only one time, and that against Hanford. In that game, he also suffered an injury, which is one of the reasons that he came out and didn't get his 100 yards. In league, he has been a terror. Since he entered the East Yosemite League, he has been averaging right up around 12 yards per carry, and that is a phenomenal pace. The 9.6 overall pace he has is incredible, and in league, up around 12 yards per carry is spectacular.
And we have the captains meeting now at the center of the field for Tulare Western and Tulare Union, and we should have the toss of the coin very, very shortly.
Yeah, each team sent out 3 captains, and right now we're trying to see who the captains are for each side. I see Parker and Ronnie Lee and Don Miller for Tulare Union out there. I think I see Inahosa, and I'm blocked out on the other 2 Western guys, but they're flipping coins and deciding who will be taking the kickoff. Good matchup, Bill. You mentioned the one-sidedness of it overall, but again, you have to remember, 2 of the last 3 years, it's been Tulare Western winning the game, and then Tulare Union won last year 19-0. Let's get these captains. It's Inahosa, Anaya, and Jim Parker, and they are the 3 of the biggest senior losses for Western coming up next year. They are 3 very, very key seniors that the Mustangs will be losing. Coach Pat Plummer has referred to Jim Parker as one of the best in the trench men he's ever seen. And boy, from what we've seen this year, you'd have to agree. He goes both ways. He's of crucial importance. And you can't say enough about Andy Inahosa and Anthony Anaya. They've been here for 3 years, and we've had a chance to watch them play for 3 years, and it's really going to be too bad to see them gone for Tulare Western.
It wasn't a real decisive indication as far as kickoff and receiver, but I believe that the Mustangs of Tulare Western will be receiving the ball. Of course, Tulare Union will be kicking off, and that should come very shortly. And let's go through the starting lineups.
Yeah, I remember a couple weeks ago, Bill, we had a terrible time getting all the way through these before the end of the first quarter, so I want to take good care to get off to a good start with these before the game starts. First, for the home team, the Tulare Western Mustangs. Wide receivers are Andy Inahosa will be usually out wide, and out with him, or they'll have, of course, they'll be playing a double tight end offense out of that power eye they've been using. They may well have 3 men in the backfield. You may see Todd Henderson, Miguel Salazar, and Martino in the backfield, along with quarterback Ricky Ortiz, and Naya and Inahosa at the receivers. That offensive line that's done a good job this year. Robert Perel is left tackle, Eleuterio Escamilla at left guard. The center is Jimmy Parker. Right guard Henry Garcia. Right tackle is Darren Carver. And when the Mustangs take to the defense, you've got left defensive end Mark Tennant. The right defensive end is Benji Betancourt. That is when they play a 4-man line. Oftentimes, they'll often be in the 4-man. It's Tulare Union that is often in the 3-man line. You've got Mark Tennant at left end. The right tackle is Charlie Jamelbide, and the left guard Rudy Maldonado. At the linebacker positions, Jimmy Parker and Miguel Salazar on the inside. The outside linebackers, Marlon Morrow and Mike Martino. And the 2 cornerbacks, Andy Inahosa and Anthony Anaya. The free safety, sophomore Frank Leal. For Tulare Union, out at the wide receiver spot, Daryl Martin. And then at the flanker spot, Jimmy Story. Also, Ronnie Lee will be out there tonight. The quarterback is Greg Anderson. The 2 running backs, Joe Jackson and Lewis Early. And then the tight end is John Chaboyan. Across the offensive line, left tackle Stan Felton, left guard Louis De Silva, center John Moskowitz, right guard Manuel Romero, and right tackle Bob Simmons. Also at right guard, Eric Espinola will see some playing time tonight. Also, Louis De Silva was telling me today that he now prefers to be called Louis Madruga, so a name change there. And when offensive linemen tell you what they prefer, you usually like to go ahead and go along with it. Down on the field, what you're seeing right now is the introduction of, maybe the seniors. I don't think it's all the players. I think it's the seniors. And you'll notice that with Tulare Union, there are almost as many Tulare Union seniors as there are Tulare Western players. This is a very experienced Tulare Union team with a big lineup, lots of players. So a lot of experience there on that Union team. Now, the Union defense, nose guard Frank Arosa. The left tackle is Robert Martinez. He's back after 2 weeks out, or actually they missed the last 2 games. And the right tackle is Carlos Gomez. 4 linebackers on the inside, Bobby Pierce and Jeff Dodds. We may also see from Hardin or hear from Hardin and Patigliano out there. The outside linebackers, Bobby Holland and Donnie Miller. The cornerbacks, Ronnie Lee and Jim Parker. The strong safety, Jimmy Jordan. and the free safety, Ty Tarkington. Now we have the Mustangs introducing their seniors, and you'll notice they do not have a lot of seniors on this Mustang team, and that's been one of the impressive things with the Mustang turnaround in the last few weeks where they've done so well. They're doing it with a team that has a lot of sophomores on the field, and where they don't have sophomores, they have a lot of juniors, so really very few seniors out there. And the Mustangs have managed to turn things around anyway and get things going towards a pretty successful season. They can even their record tonight at 5-5 with a win. The Redskins, of course, are coming into this game with a record of 7-2. And you have to believe what Mike Henson says. We didn't see that Hanford game, but he believes this team could have been undefeated pretty easily. The games they've won, you've noticed they haven't really struggled. They've been pretty easy wins. And the games that they've lost have been tough wins against very tough opponents, but games, again, that Henson feels they could have won.
Well, in talking with both coaches earlier today, they, as you say, it doesn't take too long to introduce the seniors. That's one of the contrasts for the Mustangs. One of the contrasts in this game, there are a lot of things you can look at and a lot of different matchups in the game. And one of the most interesting and really might turn out to be one of the most important is experience. And Tulare Union certainly does have the experience. But both coaches before the game saying that this game is always a sellout as long as they've been here, and of course tonight is no exception. It is absolutely jam-packed here, both on the Tulare Western side and on the Tulare Union side. And it might be a case where, Dave, in this kind of atmosphere, the players might need a series or two to kind of get things settled down and to get into their game, because they're going to be sky high going out. I think maybe in the early part of the game, that might be an advantage to the Redskins because they have a little more maturity on their side. It's a little nippy out here, but really a great night for football. Field is in I was going to say good shape, but there are some spots where it could get a little slick, and we'll have to see how that develops. Of course, the rain yesterday, and we're fortunate not to have any rain tonight, but there are some muddy spots, especially toward the side off to the left of us. So they're all lined up. For those of the benefit listening on the radio, the Mustangs were wearing all blue and white helmets, white numerals. The Redskins, the white shirts, the red pants, red helmets, and we're just about set to go. Voice of the Redskins and the Mustangs now, Dave Keller. David?
Thank you very much, Bill. Marco's one, set to kick off for the Redskins. Deep to receive for Tulare Western, Hinojosa and Anaya. The Mustangs will move from our left to our right. This kick is a spiral. It will bounce right around the 15-yard line. Anaya leaps and picks it up on the 12, comes upfield at the 20, and goes down on the 26-yard line. First and 10 for Tulare Western on their own 26-yard line as we start this ball game. The game for the Victory Bell, won last year and held now by Tulare Union. Stan Bowling, the tackle for the Redskins. Again, we expect to see in the backfield Ratiz along with Salazar. Also with him will be, of course, Todd Henderson. Henderson up over 700 yards. We talk about Lewis early, but Todd Henderson's been a big story this year, too, and he's up over 700 yards rushing. They line up in a power I formation. Now, there's a penalty flag. They may have taken too much time. We'll see what the Mustangs did on that one. What I see in the backfield is Anthony Anaya. Now, this is a little bit of a surprise. You can always count on Pat Plummer to come up with something, and he has done it this time. We've got Anthony Anaya dotting the I in the power I. He's the deep back, and I think Todd Henderson is the up man in the I formation. Mike Martino becomes the power back, the power I back. He lines up to the side of the up man in the I formation, and that it is. Todd Henderson is up. It was a 5-yard penalty encroachment against Tulare Union. So 1st and 5 for the Mustangs. And there's movement again. So either the Redskins jumped off sides again for a first down for Tulare Western, or maybe this time the Mustangs moved. And Bill, you talked about pregame jitters.
I don't know if I should take that back. I said that
don't take it back. You're right.
Well, I said the Redskins might be a little calmer because of the experience, but they're the ones that are jumping offside. And that's an easy first down for the Mustangs, and that really gets them started right. Who have no snaps of the ball yet, and they've got 10 yards, the Mustangs do.
Dennis Story is injured. If you listened last week, you heard that he injured his knee, and it ended up being knee ligaments that were damaged, and he will not play. He's in a cast. And now it's a turn and give to Anaya. Second man through, stumbles before he takes the ball. He tries to get back to the line of scrimmage and doesn't get much, but he got out towards the 39. He got something out of it anyway, so a good charge by that offensive line for the Mustangs. Tackled by the middle of the defensive line for Tulare Union. Call a gain of 3. Anaya might have gotten even more, but he slipped just a little bit before he went up to take the ball.
Yeah, the muddy part is really between the hash marks all the way from the goal line to goal line, and particularly bad in just a few areas and it looks like there could be some slipping tonight. It didn't look like he made that much on the play, but as you say, a good charge by the offensive line, good swarming defense by the Redskins.
Tulare Western on their own 40, first possession of the game. No score here in the first quarter. Backs in the eye, pitch left to Anaya. Some good lead blocking. Tries to turn upfield. He fumbles the ball. It's loose, and the Redskins have it. Back on the 37-yard line, the Tulare Union Redskins come up with the football, and it's 1st and 10. We're waiting for any kind of indication as to who might have recovered that fumble, and it's tough. Did you hear anything? Well, we can't get any indication on who recovered that fumble, but somebody with quick hands got a hold of it, and now the Redskins charge out with Story and Martin wide right. Backs in the I formation. The up man is Jackson, and deep is Early in the I formation on 1st and 10 in Tulare Western territory. The handoff to Early, trying to get the outside. He is hit around the line of scrimmage and goes down in the 38. Anaya got him and took him down by himself. A great tackle by Anthony Anaya by himself on Lewis Early.
Early trying to sweep to the left, and Anaya was right there to make the tackle. He had good pursuit, and Early really didn't have too much of a place to go. It was strung out very nicely by the Mustang defense.
Ricky Jenkins comes on, and Jackson comes out. Jenkins will play fullback now with the play from Mike Henson. Martin and Story go wide to the right. The tight end Sheboygan lines up on the left side. The defense is a 4-man front with 4 linebackers. This is the give to Early. Second man, good hold. He's inside the 35. There's a penalty flag down. He goes inside the 30 and goes out of bounds around the 28. Knocked out of bounds by Anaya, but there's a penalty flag back at the line of scrimmage, and it's against the Redskins.
It's an illegal motion. I thought I saw
there was movement.
Lewis Early started up just a little bit too soon, a little anxious, and maybe hoping to get some firm footing, and he moved ahead just a count.
I thought it was Jenkins that moved. You felt it was the back man Early. I thought it was the up man in the I formation that I might have seen move, but it doesn't matter in any case.
It was one
the
of
same
the back
effect.
men in the eye, right?
It's 2nd down and 15 for the Redskins. Well, I want to give credit where credit's due. I remember in the first game of the year we had here with Clovis, I was a little bit critical of being unable to see the field very well in terms of the markings. And considering the number of games that have been played here and some of the rain and those conditions, I think the field is in terrific shape. And whoever took care of it this time certainly deserves a great deal of credit. The field is in very good shape. The Redskins now back on their 42, on the 42 of Western. This is the give to the up man, Jackson. Big hole, left side. He's at the 30. 1 man to beat. 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Tulare Union. Joe Jackson, 42-yard touchdown, and the Redskins lead 6-0. 8:55 to go in the first quarter. The Redskins try a score on their first possession. And we'll see the first conversion attempt of the night. Marco Zwan, the exchange student, right-footed soccer-style kicker, will kick out of the hold of Gary Johnson. Jeff Dodds is back tonight, but Gary Johnson will hold. Johnson places it down. The kick is up, and it's good. Timeout on the field. 8:55 to go first quarter. Checking the scoreboard shows Tulare Union 7, Tulare Western nothing. 5 yards anyway. He's set to kick off. 2 men deep to receive for the Mustangs, Hinojosa and Anaya. And Anaya off to a little bit of a shaky start. He made a great tackle on defense, but he has fumbled once now on offense, playing an unfamiliar position, running back, taken by Anaya on the 8-yard line. Comes straight upfield across the 20, out to the 25. There was a loose ball on the 25-yard line. A loose ball, the Mustangs come up with it. Mustangs coming up with their own fumble, but boy, they're going to have to get a little grip on themselves now. So far, a lot of mistakes made tonight by both teams. Daryl Silvera, the tackle for Tulare Union. The Mustangs have it now, 1st and 10, and no indication from Coach Pat Plummer today. And, of course, he was around Bill and myself, along with Mike Henson. I don't think he wanted Mike to find out any of this. He knows that I talked to both coaches, so he probably didn't want to tell me or anybody else. But Anaya is, again, the deep man in the I formation, and Todd Henderson is the up man. It's the fake to Anderson. The throw long for Hinojosa, just overthrown at midfield. Coverage over there for Tulare Union by Jimmy Jordan. Pat Plummer told me that one of the things they would try to do is maybe attack the Tulare Union secondary a little bit. They felt they might have a little better success passing, and then maybe that was a point they could work on a little bit. Now you know why Pat doesn't tell me anything about what he's going to do, because I tend to pass it on to everybody, and it doesn't become a secret for too long. But Anaya in the backfield is definitely a little bit of a surprise. What it does, it makes Todd Henderson the fullback. And when you look at what Todd has done this year out of that tailback position, you wonder a little bit. Martino lines up on the right in the power I formation. Now he goes in motion to the far side, the left side. Pitch left to Anaya. Anaya, good lead block from Henderson, but down goes Anaya on the 30 or the 27. Pickup of 4 yards. Bobby Pierce made the tackle from his linebacker spot. 3rd down and 7.
Well, it hasn't been an aerial circus so far. That last pass before that play was the first pass of the night, long incomplete. High school football on KCOK Tulare Visalia and Sequoia Cablevision Community Channel 24.
Tulare Union's Mustangs on their own 27-yard line, and they face a 3rd down and 7, 3rd down and long. So now we'll see receivers out to the side. They move out of the power I, which is a running formation. It is Hinojosa wide right, rolling out Ortiz, looking for a block. Gets a good one, throws incomplete, intended for Hinojosa on the 38. Coverage there by Ron Lee. And it's 4th down for the Mustangs, a punting situation for them. 7:42 to go in the first quarter, 7-0 Tulare Union over Tulare Western. And we will try, if we can, to keep you abreast on the Porterville situation. Remember, it will be irrelevant what Porterville does if Tulare Union wins. If the Mustangs are winning, then it becomes very important what Porterville does, because if the Mustangs win, they need Porterville to lose. Or no, let me take that back. If the Mustangs win, it would help both Tulare schools if Porterville would lose. Otherwise, you end up in a coin flip, which they would just as soon avoid. Alfred Jackson will punt. He's standing back inside the 15-yard line. Steps off and gets off a fairly short punt. It'll come down, a diving catch there by Jackson on the 44 of Tulare Union. 29-yard punt for Jackson, no return, or yeah, for Alfred Jackson, no return for Joe Jackson. Benji Betancourt was there. And the Redskins take over on their own, let's call it the 45-yard line. So again, pretty good field position for Tulare Union. That's one thing that the Mustangs will hope to avoid. They have got a terrific defense, does Tulare Western. They have held their opponents to under 100 yards rushing per game each of the last 3 weeks. That'll be a real test now with Union, but if they can even hold them down at all, that would be very good. This is the give straight to Early, who fumbled the ball, but it was after the whistle. Early got out to the 49. Gain of 5 for Lewis out there. Charlie Chamel by the tackle for Tulare Western. They'll mark it out at 49, gain of 4.
They definitely will be tested with the powerful running game and that great offensive line of Tulare Union. They are a tough bunch and very strong, but if this game would have been played 3 or 4 weeks ago, you would have said Tulare Union has a big edge. But Tulare Western has come on so strong the last few weeks, as you say, Dave. It could be very interesting up front.
Backs again in the I formation, 2nd down and 6. Anderson turns and hands off to Early, tries the right side, gets away from one tackler and pushes his way into Tulare Western territory at the 47. Still just a touch short of the 1st down before Mark Tennant got him.
Mark Tennant tripped him up, did a nice job of diving in there and just getting him tripped up of the ankles, and still a gain on the play, and it brings up a 3rd down.
Coach Mike Henson told me he'd probably be calling the plays from the sidelines using his offensive linemen. He had 2 that he was going to use, Espinola at one of those starting positions on the offensive line, in addition to the starter over there, who is Manuel Romero, but right now he's alternating the fullbacks to get the plays in. So catching us off a little bit again. This is the give to Jackson. Jackson dives forward and probably has the 1st down. He got to the 45. Mike Martino, that tough linebacker for Tulare Western, making the tackle, but it may have been just a little bit too late to prevent a Tulare Union 1st down. Jackson, with Jackson coming to maturity as a sophomore, oh, they pulled the ball back on the spot. And Mike Henson is livid. The Tulare Union fans are unhappy, and I can see why. We're in a pretty good position to see it. And they pulled the ball back when they spotted it, and it's a tough pullback to the 46, and that could make it 4th down. They'll call for a measurement, so we'll see. But Mike Henson is very upset. He is staying on the sidelines, though. He hasn't crossed that little white line.
It is short, Dave.
It's short by a foot. I wouldn't be too surprised to see the Redskins go for it. With Jackson coming of age, this is a Tulare Union attack that may be the best running attack in the San Joaquin Valley. You've got Lewis Early, who is probably the best back in the Valley. I say probably only because I haven't seen the other backs. If you go by statistics, there's no question he's the best back in the Valley. But probably the best back in the Valley. And now Jackson really coming of age as a sophomore and really making that attack all the stronger. 4th down, about a foot to go. Wouldn't be too surprised to see a quarterback keeper. Anderson is very strong. He will run the option to the outside, keeps it himself, turns inside the 30 for the 45. He's down inside the 40 and down to the 36-yard line for a 1st down.
Frank Leal from his safety spot drove him out, but it's a gain of 14 and a first down for the Redskins, who ran a very untypical fourth down and short yardage play, and you got to give them some credit for pulling it off. It was risky.
It is a very risky play, but when it works, it sure looks nice because everybody's jammed up the middle. The thing you risk, of course, on that kind of play is a good defensive play to get out, and if the quarterback is dropped behind the line, you look kind of silly running that, but of course, it was very, very successful there, and a first down for Tulare Union.
Pat told me he felt his defense could play well against the option. Union will run the option some, certainly not on every play, but you'll see it from time to time. He felt his defense was well geared for that. This is the give to the up man. That is Early inside the 30. Green brought down by Leal from behind, but Early has a first down at the 21. Down to the 21, a gain of 16 for Lewis Early. He was the up man in the I formation, took me by surprise, tried the left side, and has a first down.
And that looked like very similar to the same play, if not the same play, that Jackson scored that touchdown on, David.
That is a 24-yard total now for Lewis Early, and if we are correct on that, we could be off by a yard either way, but at 24 yards, I was hoping when he broke it, he'd break it by enough I could say for sure, but at 24 yards, Lewis Early would be the all-time rusher in Tulare history, either high school, Tulare Union or Tulare Western. Story wide right, and Daryl Martin comes wide to the left. This time the backs are split on first down and 10 at the 21-yard line. Anderson turns, pitches out to Early. Early covers brother Jackson. Jackson comes to the near side, inside the 20, and spun out of bounds on the 17-yard line. Mike Martino from his linebacker spot got him. Martino, very small, 5'9", 150, and he is as tough as they come. When you're 5'9", 150, you expect to be playing defensive back in high school. You do not expect to be playing linebacker, and that is what Martino plays, is linebacker. Then he comes in and blocks as the power I, so he is one tough cookie, and he does a good job out of that position. Gain of 5 for Jackson at second down and 5.
Looks like that is Miguel Salazar that is going off the field. The official call timeout seems to be a little bit shaken up, but walking off the field, Dave, under his own power.
Well, that would be a disaster for the Mustangs. Salazar is very, very proficient, but in addition to that, he's starting and going two ways tonight for Tulare Western. We were told he'd be in the backfield starting. Now, I'll take that back. We haven't seen him in the defensive backfield, or the offensive backfield, but on defense, a starting linebacker and a very effective one at that. Story, wide right. Second down and 5 for the Redskins. Backs in the I formation. Early is the deep back in the I, and it's a pitch right to Early. Again, trying to get a lead block from Jackson, cutting all the way outside, and he swarmed under for a loss. That Mustang defense really got in there on that one and destroyed that play. Leading the charge was Jimmy Parker, and Andy Hinojosa got there to make a hit too, but Jim Parker led the charge in there, and they just ran that play right over.
Also, Mark Tennant out there. Good job in the way you got to string them out that way. And Tulare Western, after allowing that touchdown, they've given up some yardage, but on these couple of plays here, they have looked very strong and forced Tulare Union into another long third down play.
Well, Early's rushed 5 times tonight. On 2 of those times, the Mustang defense held him to a loss or no gain. That is very, very impressive, not often done. This is a quick out to Martin. Martin trying to beat one man, and he can't do it. He is still bullying his way down inside the 20, and he goes down to the 19. The first man to hit him was Anthony Anaya, and it was Anaya who should get most of the credit for holding on to Daryl Martin and making Martin stay there while he got some help from Leal and some others getting over there.
They just wanted to get Martin, Dave, out here on the near side one-on-one and see if he could break it. And of course, when you have a little bit slippery field, he might have a good shot, but Anthony Anaya wasn't buying it, held his ground very nicely and allowed the pursuit to catch up, make the tackle, fourth down.
Martin is a strong 6'3", 180, so Anaya did a great job with his small stature over there, making that tackle. Fourth down and 6, the Redskins will go. They're in the I formation, single wide receivers on each side. Anderson straight back to pass, heavy rush. It's a screen pass, it's incomplete. And there's let's see, what do we have, Bill? Heavy pressure by Salazar was a key there, and I think Anderson might have just dumped it because the closest man to the ball was an offensive lineman, Stan Felton. Stan wouldn't object to catching the ball, but I think the officials would. And so Stan, who's been one of the most outstanding offensive linemen on the team this year, missed his golden opportunity. He was heading upfield to block.
I got to give that Western defense a hand there for doing a good job of stopping Tulare Union. And, of course, that last play was all Salazar. He put a great pressure on a screen pass, but he got in a little bit too soon and forced that throw incomplete, and now the Mustangs take over.
Single wide receiver wide to the near side, single coverage on an eye. This is the turn and the give to Henderson. Henderson to the 19. And it's second down for Tulare Western. The tackle by Ty Tarkington, coming up from from the safety spot. Ball spotted right on the 20-yard line now. 3:31. One of the scoreboard lights out. No, that was 3:01. We're under the 3-minute mark in the first quarter. 7-0 Tulare Union over Tulare Western. Second down and 10. That play goes for no gain. Todd Henderson now the deep man in the eye, and Salazar is in there now as the fullback. There's one man slot left. Ortiz back to pass, gets a block. Now he throws, intended out there for one of his receivers. It's incomplete. The ball is loose. They're trying to make the catch with Tony Rodriguez, but it's incomplete. It was scooped up at that point by one of the Mustangs. That was Jimmy Parker, but it was simply an incomplete pass. I don't know how anyone could have thought that it was anything but a forward pass. 3rd down and 10, or maybe 3rd and a long 9 for the Tulare Western Mustangs on the 20-yard line.
Ortiz did a nice job getting that one off. He threw a pretty good pass. It was simply dropped, but he had to throw it kind of up and around one of the offensive linemen and got it out there in good shape, but it was dropped incomplete.
Hinojosa wide left, and also in the slot left is Anthony Anaya. Back in the I formation, back to pass Ortiz. Heavy rush, and he's sacked. Back inside the 15-yard line. Bobby Holland was there, and he had help from Ty Tarkington as that Tulare Union defense got in there for a big sack, and it's 4th down for Tulare Western back on their 13-yard line. So far, things going very much the Tulare Union way in this ballgame. A 7-0 lead for the Redskins, and they forced Tulare Western into a punting situation.
Well, the Mustang defense did a nice job that time, but it's asking a lot to keep holding and holding and holding with a bad field position.
Jackson standing on his goal line, gets it away. Kick comes off to the side, coming to the near sideline, bounces at the 41, takes a good roll for the Mustangs out to the 49. 36-yard punt for Jackson. It rolls dead there on the 49, but Tulare Union again takes over in Tulare Western territory. This is the Redskins' 3rd possession, and for the 2nd time they will be in Tulare Western territory as they take over.
And that's what I was saying before, Dave, is that you can make some great defensive plays, but even the best defenses in the world, it's got to have an effect when the ball is continually on your side of the field, and to try to keep keeping them out, it's tough to keep doing.
1st down and 10 for Tulare Union on the 49 of Western. Anderson turns and gives to Early. Early goes down to the 46, maybe the 45. 2nd down and 6. Eleuterio Escamilla and Jim Parker the tackles. 1:29 and counting here in the first quarter of play. 7-0 lead for Tulare Union over Tulare Western. The Mustangs having trouble all season long and then really putting things together the last 2 weeks. They have looked great. We saw them in Porterville, and I know both Bill and I were very, very impressed with the way they played. Porterville, however, is not Tulare Union, and the Redskins present a little bit more of a challenge. This is a give to Early. Nice hole. Breaks a tackle at the 40. He bulls over one man at the 32, but goes down. A nice open field tackle there by Leo. Leo just put his head down and took the punishment, and he took a pretty good shot, but he got his man. A nice tackle by Frank Leo, still down to the 32-yard line, a gain of 16.
And a nice hole, very nicely opened up by the Tulare Union Redskin offensive line. A great job, and it squeezed right through that hole. It was a small hole, but it was there. It was a good job up front.
Tulare Union on the Tulare Western 32-yard line. Both receivers out right. Anderson turns and runs into Jackson, running the option. Now he's going to be tackled. That play didn't work well at all, and the Redskins are as much responsible for that as the Mustangs are, as Anderson turned around and ran into Jackson. Right in front of Mike Henson where he could see it. You didn't want to make that mistake right there. Mike could look right down the line and see what that looked like, and it didn't look good for the Redskins. 2nd down and 10. Redskins and Mustangs battling for playoff berths here. Both teams, or at least the Redskins, with a situation where they can assure one with the win. The Mustangs can have a shot at one with the win. This will be the last play of the first quarter as time runs down. Backs in the I formation. This is the play-action pass. Anderson looking to throw to the far side of the field. Out there is Martin. Martin leaps, catches it. There's a penalty flag down, and they will not allow Martin to have the reception. There's already a penalty flag at the line of scrimmage. They'll call a pass interference on Martin down on Anaya. Darrell is 6'3", and Anthony Anaya is 5'9", or 5'8" or 5'9". When Darrell goes up, he has a chance to drape himself all over Anaya, and they will bring this back, but I believe they may bring it back on the grounds of the penalty at the line of scrimmage. Either one may have been against the Redskins. I think there was some motion again. Jenkins moving a little bit quickly out of that fullback position.
Well, they're definitely both against the Tulare Union team, and I think that was a good call on the far side of the field. It was a little ways away from us, but it seemed pretty obvious that they would call the offensive pass interference. I think they're going to, the Mustangs will accept the penalty at the line of scrimmage here. Either a hold or the...
Well, of course, yeah, both would be from the line of scrimmage, but I wonder if they're moving at 15 yards, that must be the pass interference.
Yeah,
I would
let's
think.
see what we get here.
It's also the end of the first quarter. Well, some question is how the first quarter can end with a penalty flag down, but I believe that time did expire in the middle of that play, and they just didn't sound the gun. We have a timeout on the field. We've come to the end of the first quarter of play. Check of the scoreboard. Tulare Union 7, Tulare Western nothing. You're enjoying tonight's game, a good one so far. Although the Mustangs now at Tulare Western hoping to dig in a little bit now. They trail 7-0, and they've got the Redskins in a little bit of a hole. Tulare Union leading 7-0, but they face a third down. They lose the down on the pass interference. And in addition to losing the down, they lose 15 yards, so it's a biggie. Third down and 25 for the Redskins. Single receivers to each side. No, 2 receivers wide left. Straight back to pass. Anderson steps up in the pocket, throws long to the left side for Early. Great diving catch by Early. He may have been, yes, he caught it inbounds at the 14-yard line. A first down for the Redskins. What a pass, what a catch. Anderson stepped up in the pocket under pressure and threw a shot downfield for the completion. And Early made a beautiful diving catch on the far sideline, just inbounds, and he's down to the 14-yard line. First and 10 for the Redskins, and the Mustangs let the Redskins get out of a little bit of a hole now. On the 14-yard line, Tulare Union has it. They already lead by 7, and they're trying to add to that. They're knocking at the door. Single receivers wide each side. This is the give to Jackson. Jackson straight ahead, and he doesn't get too much. He's down closer to the 10, but not much closer. That may have been Jenkins, the fullback in the I formation, because now Jackson goes on with a play from the sidelines. $11:17 to go, second quarter, 7-0. Tulare Union over Tulare Western. The Redskins undefeated in league, and Tulare Western 3-1 in league. The backs are split. 2 receivers out wide left. Single coverage on them, nobody deep behind them. This is the option. Anderson keeps it, turns upfield, big hole, inside the 5, into the end zone. Touchdown, Tulare Union. Greg Anderson runs the option right, an 11-yard touchdown. He turned it upfield, and there was a huge hole. The right side of the offensive line doing a great job for the Redskins, and Tulare Union leads by a score of 13-0. Marco Zwan on to try the extra point. Out of the hold of Gary Johnson. Johnson holding even though Dodge is back tonight. Johnson has done a very good job holding. In addition, it saves Dodge from the possible injury that can occur in that position. The kick is up, and it is good. Timeout on the field. 10:56 to go in the first half. Check of the scoreboard shows Tulare Union 14, Tulare Western nothing. No cheering in the press box.
Just one loud fan coming over.
That they're the second best team, or possibly even, well, we don't want to say the best team. Tulare Union's got them down 14-0, but in terms of playoff spots, these right here are the 2 best teams in the league. And Porterville happened to beat Western when Western was still struggling a little bit very early in the year. This comes to Hinojosa, coming at the near sideline of the 20. Nice hole, breaks a tackle at the 30. He's at the 40, and goes out of bounds on the 43. Darryl Martin forced him out. Great running by Andy Hinojosa. He got out to the 43, so for a change, the Mustangs will have some pretty good field position with which to work. And that'll help them.
That is going to be make a big difference and should pep up that Mustang team up. Could be a little bit discouraged seeing Tulare Union run off 14 points here, but still lots of time left. There's 10:49, and Mustangs got to keep their cool, just come back down and see what they can do.
Marlon Morrow lines up on the right side, is tight end. Everybody in tight now on this power I formation. 3 men in the backfield. I formation with another back who lines up on the right. This is the give to Henderson. He goes down around the line of scrimmage, the left side of that defensive line, really digging in for Tulare Union now. It's 2nd down and 10. Frank Arosa struggled out of his nose guard position where you're often in the grasp of 2 blockers, and he got over there to make that tackle. Arosa's had a great year out of that nose guard position.
Really got to give those guys credit up there. There's a lot of players that there's just too many that we've seen so many players, Bobby Holland, so many players for the Redskins have such great games. There's some very, very hard hitters. It's a very good defense.
This time the back split on 2nd down and 10. Ortiz calls the signals and turns, fakes the handoff. Now he's in trouble in the backfield, and he's sacked back on the 35. The Redskins got in there to sack Ricky Ortiz back on the 35. There's a little bumping, and we'll hope that this does not disintegrate into Fist City here in the second quarter. There's a lot of football left. Better save that for later in the game if there's going to be problems. And Couldn't get the two players who got in there for the sack, but two of the Redskins really got in there well with good penetration and forced a big loss back to the 35, a loss of 8. 9:46 to go in the first half. Mustangs trailing Tulare Union 14-0. Well, as I was saying, Porterville played Tulare Western in the first game of the league season, and at that point, those two teams were very, very even, and it showed in a very close win for Porterville at home in their own stadium. There's almost no doubt. There's all kinds of troubles on the snap. The ball is loose. There may also be a penalty flag down. I don't know. I believe the Mustangs recovered it, but no penalty flag, but the ball is recovered by the Mustangs on the 35 on a fumbled exchange on the snap. Ortiz never got it in his hands, and it's 4th down and long for Tulare Western. But if those two teams, Porterville and Tulare Western, were to meet tonight, there'd be no question over who the favorite would be with the way the league season's gone. Absolutely no question that the Mustangs would be a pretty big favorite. They really have played well the last 2 weeks especially. Jackson steps up for the punt and gets off an end-over-end kick that will be taken by Lee on the 36. He comes upfield at the 40 and goes out around the 45-yard line, so a decent return. Some good hitting going on out there. Alfred Jackson got in from the punt to really bash him out of bounds. 30-yard punt for Jackson. 1st and 10 for Tulare Union, already leading 14-0 and hoping to add to that on their own 44-yard line.
With very good field position again. It seems like they have started, I don't believe they started inside their 40-yard line.
No, I don't think they have.
Most of the time it's been on the Mustang side of the field. They're in good field position again.
44-yard line. Tulare Union sends two receivers out right. And the backs in the I formation. The Redskins now moving from our left to our right. Anderson looking for a quick pass down the right sideline from Martin. Out there is Hinojosa. They leap. It's incomplete. Hinojosa had great position on Martin, and there wasn't anything Martin could do about it as Hinojosa just played the ball. Darrell went up, and what Hinojosa did was he slowed down just enough that Martin couldn't get there to leap it. What Andy does not want to do is get into a leaping match with Darrell Martin. Martin is 6'3", and Hinojosa at 5'7". And that leaping situation there it's not very equal. You don't want to get into that. And of course, Hinojosa's dealt with that before. There's no question he can do it, but it's a situation you want to avoid as much as possible. Hinojosa listed on the roster as 5'6" even, so it's giving away 9 inches. 2nd down and 10 for the Redskins on the 44. Backs again in the I. Jenkins the up man. Back to pass Anderson. Pump fake. Gives it on a draw to Early. Early breaks a tackle. Sidesteps another. He's across midfield. Slips and goes down to the 46. And that's a yard short of the first down. Gain of 9 for Lewis Early. Great play by the Redskins. Got to love that. Anderson dropped back to pass. Pump fake. And that really opened things up on the draw.
They've showed some misdirection that we hadn't seen that much before, and maybe trying to take advantage of the quickness and the maturity that, although the Mustangs are a young team, they've come of age in the last 3 games and are moving better off the ball at this point in the season. Tulare Union crossing him up, trying earlier in the game, showing something to the right and then coming back to the left. That time looked like a pass. All of a sudden it was a draw play. So Tulare Union, some good misdirection.
Mike Henson tells me Lewis Early's ankle is hurting him a little bit. He's been telling me that for 6 weeks. Heard it in the Hanford game, says it still hurts a little. This is the give straight ahead to Early, who's very close to the first down at the 45. He didn't get much more than that if he does indeed have the first down. He does. He got down to the 44, gain of 2, first down for Tulare Union. And if Lewis's ankle is hurting him, I think it's hurting Tulare Western a whole lot more at this point. He's running well, but the key is that the Redskins have been able to do some other things well. Charlie Shemelby, the tackle for Tulare Western. Story comes wide right, Martin wide left, backs in the I formation. First down and 10 for the Redskins. They're on the 44. This is the option, run to the right side by Anderson. Breaks a tackle, now he has to take a deep drop and he goes down. Marlon Morrow, I think it was, got in there to make the tackle back on the 49-yard line. Morrow getting in there, and it was a couple other Mustang defenders that forced Anderson to go deep, and that allowed Morrow to catch up with him and make the tackle. Loss of 4 on the play back to the 49.
And again, Dave, all the pressure is on the Mustang defense. They're the ones that have been on the field the most, with the exception of the Tulare Union offense. It's a little easier on the offense, but to keep up the intensity is tough. And the Mustang defense is hanging in there very well and forced them a loss on that play.
Story goes wide to the left. Again, the backs in the eye still now on 2nd down and 14. Tulare Union at the Tulare Western 49. Back to pass Anderson, deep drop, screen to the left side to the right side to Jackson. Gets across midfield, sidesteps one tackler and goes down on the 43. A gain of 5 on the play. Tackle by Morrow. He had help from Maldonado. Rudy Maldonado over there to make the tackle as well. And it's 3rd down and 9 for the Redskins on the 43-yard line. Anderson passing well tonight. You've seen flashes of his arm. He really looked great on that pass downfield to Early on the last series. You can see why he is being recruited by some colleges when you see a pass like that. Sometimes you look at his statistics and you wonder a little bit, but boy, you see a pass like that, and what a great arm you saw him have on that play especially, and very accurate as well. Jenkins, the lone man in the backfield behind Anderson, straight back to pass. Has some time. Now he throws left side. A bullet. It's incomplete. And intended over there for Early on a crossing pattern, but again, a phenomenal pass right on the money. Anaya over there on the coverage, along with Martino, but what a pass by Anderson. He had to step up and avoid a rusher, and he still threw a bullet that hit Early squarely in the chest, and Lewis would have held on, but it was a couple of great hits over there by Anaya.
Yeah.
And Martino over there as well. Anaya really laid a lick on him, and that made it go incomplete. But again, a great pass. You can't fault Lewis Early. He was hit just as the ball got there. But that was one of those passes that takes a great arm, but it also takes a certain degree of touch. 4th down, 9 yards to go. I think the Redskins called timeout. Indeed they did, Mike.
High school football on KCOK Tulare Visalia, Sequoia Cable Community Channel 24. We'd like to tip our hats, if we were wearing them, to our sponsors, Rich Photography in Tulare, Round Table Pizza with 2 locations in Tulare, Merlestone Chevy, Ely Auto Parts, Beck's Pharmacy, Frank's Liquor, and Santa Fe Tire and Wheel.
Martin wide left, Story wide right. Backs in the I formation, 4th down and 9, 44-yard line of Tulare Western. Anderson straight back to pass. He steps up in the pocket. He throws over the middle. Complete. It's complete there to Story. He's down to the 30. Breaks a tackle at the 20 and goes down to the 25-yard line. There's a penalty flag down, or rather a fumble, and the Mustangs have recovered on the 10-yard line. A great run by Story, but he fumbled the ball forward. The Mustangs recover down to the 10-yard line. We think, well, it's hard to say. Anaya was the hit, and boy, who recovered it? A little hard to say, that far away from us. One of the Mustangs dove on it with a big fumble recovery and a chance to turn things around for the Mustangs. They'll have to be careful, though. They're on their own 9-yard line. That causes the Tulare Western Band to strike up a tune, one of the few times they've been able to celebrate tonight as the Mustangs take over. Backs in the I formation. This is Ortiz looking to throw. He's in trouble, and he's going to be sacked inside the 5, back towards the 2-yard line. Ty Tarkington got in there. Also Bobby Holland. And it's going to be 2nd down and perhaps 17 to go for Tulare Western. So the Mustangs struggling on offense. .4:57 to go in the first half. A timeout, and we'll keep it here as I'm not sure who called that one.
That was the Mustangs, Dave.
Pat Plummer looks a little unhappy. He's just got that gait about him as he takes the field that he looks like he's going to raise it. Yes, he is raising his voice. He is unhappy with Ortiz, I think. And he is very unhappy with Ortiz. He's going to talk about some of the things that he thinks that Ricky might do to get the team in gear a little bit. And now he's going to talk to the team as a whole. The Redskins, or the Mustangs, now have to be very careful because they're down inside the 5-yard line. Any kind of turnover would be incredibly costly.
I think Pat's also pretty upset at the fact that they got the ball back, had a chance to do something here late in the half, and on the first play go back and get sacked. That kind of takes the steam out of it, pumps that defense up again. Scoring plays, if you joined us late, for Tulare Union, they've scored 14 points with 4:57 to go in the first half. A 42-yard run by Joe Jackson in the first quarter with 8:55 to go. And then in the second quarter, an 11-yard run by quarterback Greg Anderson. 14-0 Tulare Union over Tulare Western.
Hinojosa and Anaya come wide to the near sideline, the left side. The Mustangs now moving from our right to our left. Martino is the up man in the I. Todd Henderson is back. This is the give to Henderson. Tries the right side, steps over one tackler and gets out past the 5, close to the 6-yard line. Gain of 3 on the play. Still 2nd or 3rd down and very long yardage for Tulare Western. Let's remember now that these Mustangs were shut out here last year by Tulare Union 19-0. So we're going on 6 quarters of football where Tulare Western has not been able to score in this rivalry. And that is a situation, I'm sure, of grave concern to Pat Plummer and the coaches up in the press box. They want to work on some offensive things. They're playing the best defensive team that they've seen since probably the Redwood game or the Whitney game or the Golden West game. All 3 of those schools have terrific defenses. But in league, they haven't seen a defense like this. And to be fair the other way, Tulare Union hasn't seen a defense as good as Tulare Western's either. These are by far the 2 best defensive football teams. Tulare Union a little bit more in the way of offensive firepower to go with it. Single coverage on the wide receivers who come out wide to the left. Rodriguez out there along with Hinojosa. Back to pass for Tease. Looking upfield, throwing the bomb out there for Rodriguez. It's incomplete, overthrown on the 35. Coverage by Tarkington. No, Ronnie Lee. May have been a little bit of a cross-up as Lee and Jordan want to talk things over and make sure they're squared away on who they're covering on those big plays downfield. It is single coverage despite the 14-0 lead. Not much double coverage yet for the Redskins.
Well, Ortiz had a couple of men running out that way, but he overthrew the short man and didn't throw long enough for the long man, and the ball hit right in between.
Well, a punting situation and a troublesome one for the Mustangs. Jackson will punt. Standing in his own end zone, just inside the end line. Heavy rush by the Redskins, and Jackson hurries and gets it away. Goes to the right side, bounces on the 35 and goes out of bounds on the 37-yard line, perhaps. See where they spot it, and we'll tell you how long the punt was. They'll spot it on the 40, so we'll call it a 34-yard punt for Jackson. Under the circumstances, quite good. First and 10. No, they move it upfield to the 38. 32-yard punt for Jackson, and first and 10 again. The Redskins with great field position. So the story of this half of football, the inability of Tulare Western to move the ball at all on the Tulare Union defense, leading to great field position for the Redskins, which they've been able to capitalize on 2 times. 14-0. The Redskins have the ball again. Give to the second man. That's Early. Early runs into one of his own men, but gets down to the 35. Gain of 3 on the play. Jim Parker, the tackle. And I don't know how far Early might have gone, but one of his offensive linemen was still standing up downfield, and Early ran into his back. .344 to go in the half. 14-0. Tulare Union leads. And again, this Mustang defense faced the same situation earlier in the year, facing those big Visalia schools, where the defense really dug in, but they were on the field so much that there wasn't much they could do. It was tough. The points still get on the scoreboard when your offense doesn't move the ball. This is the run, the option run. Anderson keeps it and turns upfield and gets down to the 30-yard line. I made that sound almost as confusing as it was, as Anderson got down to the 30 and very close to the first down, but still just a touch short, 2 yards short. Mike Martino, the tackle for Tulare Western.
I think you gave that play a new name. It's the Anderson run now.
Jackson on. The Redskins continuing to alternate the fullback position. That's Ricky Jenkins and Joe Jackson. One of the big stories last week, we saw Todd Henderson absolutely go wild in the first half. Over 100 yards rushing in the first half against Menachie, and he has been held to 3 yards in 3 carries tonight against this Tulare Union defense, and that's as big a story as anything. On the 30-yard line, pitch left to Early. Early turns upfield. He has the first down and a little bit more down towards the 26-yard line as several of the Mustangs swarm him over there. Martino got there. Also there was Anthony Anaya. Rocky Sanchez in on the tackle as well for the Mustangs. Redskins trying to run the clock down somewhat. The Redskins received, or rather kicked off to start the game, so in addition to a 14-0 lead, they have the benefit of taking the second half kickoff. And when you already lead 14-0, you really like to look at those things and consider what you can do with it. You lead 14-0, you've got a chance to score here. In addition to that, you take the opening kickoff in the second half. So if you run the clock down, you could have 2 possessions in a row. So that's what the Redskins are looking at right now. Anderson hands off to the up man. That was Jackson, who didn't get much. May even have lost a yard on the play. Well, get loss of 1. That was Jenkins, the up man, the fullback. Maldonado, the tackle for Tulare Western.
That was completely clogged up by that Mustang defense even before it got started. And there were 3 or 4 Mustangs waiting right at the line of scrimmage to, as a matter of fact, behind the line of scrimmage and waiting to mess that play up. They did a nice job.
The Mustangs don't have a big offensive line, never have. But again tonight, they're doing an outstanding job of at least holding the Tulare Western lines in check and in some cases swarming over them. So we'll credit a lot of credit to that Western defensive line. This is Early on the pitch right. Turns upfield, gets down right around the line of scrimmage. We'll give him a couple yards to the 25, but Parker was over there to make the tackle along with Anaya. Marlon Morrow was there too, Hinojosa rather. And on the 26-yard line, it's 3rd down and 10. And again, that Mustang defense digs in under pressure. A situation where they have to hold. One concern with the Mustangs, from what we've seen so far this year, when they don't get things going in the first half, they generally have not turned it around in the second half. The game where we saw them do well was last week, where they really charged open, and they've done well the whole game. They've played very few games that we've seen where they did well in the second half after having problems in the first half. But let's remember, we only see them under the worst circumstances, that being road games. And I understand they have played quite a bit better at home, than they played at the road. They are the home team tonight, but in any case, they're on their home field, which is what's important.
That Porterville rally came a little bit short. They did score some points, but really towards the end, they got that last touchdown and almost had a chance to return an onside kick for a touchdown in that game, but they fell short in that one.
Well, it's a situation where they've been held down. We have a timeout, incidentally. They've been held in check so much, they've gained only 7 yards rushing now in 6 carries, and I imagine the passing statistics are equally grim for Tulare Western. So they need to figure something out at halftime about how they're going to get things going. One thing they have going is they have a tough offensive line that can give their teams time to throw if everybody can get open, but let's see what they can do.
Talking about passing, Tulare Union have unofficially a 2 for 5 and right at 70 yards. Tulare Western hasn't completed a pass yet. They've attempted 3.
So that would give them something in the nature of 7 total yards, and that doesn't include the sacks because neither Bill nor I chart the sacks. They could be back in the negative yardage totals. Here's a big third down play for Tulare Union. Back to pass to Anderson, gives on the draw. It's a pass out to Martin. Complete to Martin on the left side at the 26. He gets inside down to the 20-yard line, but short of the first down. 4th down for Tulare Union. A beautiful play action on the draw to Early. Early bent over as if he had the ball, and certainly fooled me. It left Martin open on the left side. Martin caught the pass from Anderson, but it's 4th down and 6 yards to go. Obvious situation for Tulare Union to go. They have not tried a kick yet, a field goal by Marco Zwan. Zwan has kicked 3 field goals on the year, and they will elect to go ahead and just go for it now on 4th down and 6. Backs in the I formation, single wide receivers on each side for Tulare Union on the 21-yard line. Play action, Anderson rolls out, looks to throw, throws incomplete for a diving Martin, I believe. No, Sheboygan dove for it on a crossing pattern out of the tight end spot on the 10-yard line, and Tulare Western takes over on downs. Anthony and I, the coverage over there for Tulare Western. Now, there are only 12 seconds to go in the first half, and I would be a little bit surprised to see the Mustangs try anything. I think they want to maybe put it away. They could, with that little time left, they could just air it out and go ahead and go for the bomb, but I don't think they'll try anything too fancy and be satisfied to go to the locker room trailing 14-0 after a half of football that has not gone well for them on offense. It's the quarterback keeper by Rattiz. He gets out to the 25, and the clock runs down. That will be the last play of the first half of football here tonight from Bob Mathias Stadium. There's the gun sounding the end of the first half of play, and both teams leave the field now at halftime. We'll be back with some halftime statistics. Right now, checking the scoreboard shows Tulare Union 14, Tulare Western nothing.
In Tulare, Bill Roberts along with Dave Keller. It is halftime, and the Tulare Union Redskins leading the Tulare Western Mustangs by a score of 14-0. The Tulare Union Redskin Band is getting ready to make their appearance on the field, and we'll let you enjoy some of their music here tonight. High school football on KCOK Tulare Visalia and Sequoia Cablevision Community Channel 24 is being brought to you by Rich Photography. And just making their way off the field. Of course, another excellent halftime show by both.
Number 2 seeded team to go to the playoffs because they beat Tulare Western in the opening game. And again, so that's a very sad situation for Tulare Western. But the Mustangs, of course, are not going to say, well, that's too bad. We'll see if we can do something about that. They're going to keep it going. They lead 14-0, and they're going to try to come out fired up and see if they can start to put this game away. By no means is this game at this point, any kind of a lock. The Mustangs only trail by 14 points. Remember, they put 30 on the board last week and over 30 on the board the week before. So they have the chance to get things going.
Let me make it official, Dave. It is 6-6 Porterville and Wenatchee at halftime.
And we'll try to keep you up on what's happening in that game. It's going to be anybody's ball game. Remember, 19-0 the score last year and 14-0 now at this point. So the Mustangs, as far as this rivalry goes, having a hard time getting the scoring in gear. This is the kickoff. Perales kicks it down to 2 receivers. That is Early back there along with Lee. The ball is rolling free on the 7. Lee picks it up there. Comes to the near sideline and goes down the 15. So good coverage. Jackson down there to make the tackle for Tulare Western. Good coverage by the Mustangs. And for the first time tonight, the Redskins are going to start out in any kind of a hole. It's the first time that's happened. Ball on the 16-yard line. Let's see what the Redskins break out, and they didn't alternate too much. They were rotating fullbacks the first half to call plays, and the same two receivers stay in the game all the way. That it is. Sheboygan, the tight end, lines up left, and then it's Story wide left and wide right, Daryl Martin. The backs in the I formation, single coverage on each receiver. Quick complete to Martin. Incano goes through his hands. It was just a quick out to Martin, and it goes through his hands. It was thrown behind him a little bit. Don't fault Daryl. The coverage by Hinojosa, and it's 2nd down and 10.
We talked about Tulare Union getting the ball first. It could turn out to be an advantage for Tulare Western if they could hold them, because they would finally get some sort of decent field position. But that's given the fact that they could hold the Tulare Union team.
This time Sheboygan lines up on the right, and the backs are split on 2nd down and 10. Anderson calls the signals. He spins, turns and hands off to Early, tries the right side. Nice hole, gets up past 20, the ball is loose. Picked up by the Mustangs. I believe it's Hinojosa on the 32-yard line. Andy Hinojosa recovers for Tulare Western. And the Mustangs have great field position on the 33-yard line of Tulare Union on a fumble by Lewis Early, who carried it roughly 6 yards before it popped free. We didn't see who made the hit that popped it free, but it was Hinojosa who recovered it. 1st and 10 for Tulare Western on the 33 of Tulare Union.
That is exactly the break that they needed. That is exactly what they needed at exactly the perfect time. Now they have to capitalize on it.
A big break indeed, because Early had gone for at least 6 yards and was headed towards that 1st down marker when he fumbled. And if they hadn't stopped him, he would have been very close to the 1st. This is the power I again. Play action. Ortiz rolls out. Throws to a wide open Martino down the far sideline, the 25 to the 21. 1st down, Tulare Western. A great hit over there. I think it was Ronnie Lee. Ronnie today said, I want you to call me Ronnie Lott after the San Francisco 49er defensive end. And on that one, we will give Ronnie credit. He hit exactly like Ronnie Lott. A great hit on Martino, although in Mike's defense, when you're 150 pounds, it does make it pretty easy to look like you took a great hit, because you go down pretty fast on a hit that's that solid. 1st down to the 21-yard line, the deepest penetration of the night by far for the Mustangs. They're back in the power I. Todd Henderson is the up back. Anaya is the deep man. So again, they will try the opening formation they used in the 1st quarter. The power I, this is the give to Anaya, straight ahead, and he pushes inside the 20 down to the 17. It will be 2nd down and about 7. So Tulare Western trying to come back to life. They looked very much in trouble at halftime. Not that 14 points is such a big margin, but it becomes a big margin when you're not moving the ball at all. And they weren't. But right now, that's they have gone past their total yardage total in the 1st half, and they've done it in 2 plays. Ortiz, play action, rolls to their side, throwing into the end zone for Hinojosa. He's out there. Touchdown, Tulare Western. Ricky Ortiz, a picture-perfect pass to a wide-open Andy Hinojosa in the left corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Tulare Western. The coverage over there by Jimmy Jordan. And it's a 14-6 ball game, a 21-yard touchdown pass, 9:47 to go in the 3rd quarter of play, and the Mustangs are rolling right back into this one. And we may keep a little closer ear to what is happening in Porterville. Peter Vandenbroek on to try the extra point. And the Mustangs having trouble getting enough men on the field. A lot of confusion there. They'll have to hurry. It's placed down. The kick is up. And it is good. Timeout on the field. 9:47 to go in the 3rd quarter. Check of the scoreboard shows Tulare Union 14, Tulare Western 7.
What I tell you, Bill?
Oh, they ran that play. I'm sorry. Back at Bob Mathias Stadium in Tulare, Bill Roberts, Dave Keller with 9:47 to go in the 3rd, and Tulare Western has scored on a 17-yard picture-perfect pass from Ortiz to Hinojosa. As nice a pass as we've seen in a long time. That ball was laid in there perfectly. 9:47 to go in the 3rd, 14-7 Tulare Union, Dave.
Yeah, let's clear that up again. It was a 17-yard touchdown pass. We said 21. They'd run the 4-yard gain to Anaya, so a 17-yard touchdown pass, and Ortiz laid it out there beautifully. Hinojosa did a great job of getting open. Perales kicks a very hard, low kick. It goes through the fingers of Lee. Now Early kicks it. They kicked it out of the end zone. It will be, what is that called? They call it a touchback? I guess they call it a touchback. That's the indication. Again, we get...
They call it a touchback.
That's interesting. I thought that...
I would think it would be a safety. It would seem
that was
logically-
my inclination was to say it was a safety. Now, if it goes through his fingers and he touches it, it's definitely a touchback. But I thought if he provided the momentum, which put it into the end zone, that it would have to be a safety. I don't know. Is Pat Plummer yelling at the officials? I can't tell. If he's, well, they're maybe yelling at their own players just to get them fired up. In any case, possible big break for the Redskins, and we won't comment any further without being absolutely sure what the rule is there. They give to Early, tries the left side. He's out past the 20 to the 22, 2nd down and 8. Gain of 2 on the play. The right side of the defensive line, Jim Parker in there to make the tackle. They give Early pretty good forward progress. Gain of 3. 2nd down and 7 for Tulare Union. 14-7. That would have, if that was a safety, it would have been 14-9, and the Mustangs would have been on the verge of getting the ball back. Martin comes wide right, and Story is in the slot right, flank to the right side. Backs in the I formation. Jenkins is up. This is the give to Story, or to Early. Second man through. Big hole down the far sideline. He's at the 40, the 45. He is dragged down from behind at the 45 of Tulare Western by Frank Leal. Leal showing great speed to get over there and corral Early. Leal had a slight angle on him, but we've seen many times this year when a safety had an angle on Early, and he was able to go right by him. In this case, Leal was able to use his speed and get him, force him to go out of bounds. They'll say he stepped out right at midfield. A gain of 27 yards for Early. That's as fast as I've seen Lewis run this year. He really took off down the far sideline and looked like, despite the fact that Leal had a good shot at him, that he might be gone. But very sure tackling by Leal, who's just a sophomore and doing a good job tonight, as he has all season. Midfield, 1st and 10, Tulare Union. This is give to, no, there's a fumble, a loose ball, and the Mustangs have it. The Mustangs have recovered at midfield. Rudy Maldonado fell on it. I believe it was intended to be a handoff to Jackson on a counter play. Misdirection, a fake one way to Early, and then a give to Jackson. And it's 1st and 10 for Tulare Western at midfield. 8:52 to go in the 3rd quarter. It's 14-7, Union over Western, but the Mustangs are rallying. And what we said was if they could get some momentum going, it'd be anybody's ball game.
Well, the turnovers is what turned it around. 2 turnovers by Tulare Union. First one, Tulare Western took it in for a touchdown. They have it at midfield now.
At midfield, the power eye again. Inahosa wide left. Single coverage still on him. Ortiz turns. Hands off to Anaya. Steps over one tackler. Down the far side on the 40. The 30. Breaks the tackle. The 20. He's dragged down at the 10. Out of bounds on the 9-yard line. Ronnie Lee made the tackle. But what a run by Anthony Anaya. What a run by Anthony Anaya down to the 9-yard line. A 41-yard gain for Anaya. They'll say he went out on the 11, so a 39-yard gain for Anaya. He is lightning. Anytime he touches the ball, he is so dangerous. Let me tell you how dangerous he is. He, as a receiver, averages somewhere, I saw, up around 29 yards per reception every time he touches the ball as a receiver. Let me get the figure on that exactly. We do have all the statistics for both teams. Anthony Anaya this year as a receiver, 29.6 yards per reception. I've never heard of anything like that with the receiver. Now, Tulare Union calls timeout, and we'll keep it here. Let me give you that exact rundown on Anaya. One of the biggest problems for Tulare Western this year has been their inability to get Anaya the ball. He has had a mere, let's see, number of receptions there, 12. 12 receptions, only a little more than 1 per game, and every time he catches it, he goes 29.6. That's his average. And as you see on that run, how dangerous he can be. 39 yards down the far sideline to the 11. And it's 1st down and 10 on the 11-yard line for Tulare Western. But as a back, they can get Anaya the ball, which is what they're looking to do.
Well, just a great run down that far sideline, and it looked for a moment like he'd be able to break a couple of tackles. He actually did, but some good pursuit down that way, too, for the Redskins. Caught up and bring the ball back. It's marked at the 11-yard line. Amazing how quickly it turns around, David. The momentum is really something. When the Mustangs went in at halftime, looked like they might have some trouble coming back. They hadn't moved the ball at all. Were they minus yardage at halftime?
Oh, no, I think we thought they were right around 10, but that, again, we weren't sure about all the sacks, and the sacks might have put them under.
probably all combined, they were very close to 0 yardage at halftime, and now they come out very strong here in the second half with the help of a couple of Tulare Union turnovers.
1st and 10 on the 11-yard line. Hinojosa out wide left by himself. Power I. Anaya dots it. He's the top of the I there. It's the give to Anaya. Runs into the middle of the line. He's stopped. The middle of that defensive line really got him. Don Miller got in on the end, but it was someone from the front 4 that got in there to make it. I think that it was Robert Martinez, and he ran into Anaya, and Anaya stood straight up.
Ran into a brick wall that time.
No gain on the play. Anaya at least got back to the line of scrimmage. Well, Bill, we'll keep track of this, of course, and if Western punches it in, it will become very important to start charting what is happening in that game in Porterville tonight. And let's remind you, if Porterville were to lose, if Western won, Western would be the number 1 seed, Union would be the number 2 seed, and would go to Bakersfield. It gets very confusing, so we'll wait a little bit longer to see how these games go. This is Ortiz rolling out, play action, looking to throw. He's got Martino out there on the 8, complete, down to the 5-yard line. Gain of 6 on the play, Ron Lee the tackle. And it will be 3rd down, and maybe 5 yards to go for the first. They spotted on the 6, which they do. 3rd down and 5 on the 6-yard line, and Tulare Western has taken timeout. We have a timeout on the field, 7:22 to go in the 3rd quarter. Check of the scoreboard shows Tulare Union 14 and Tulare Western 7. Back at Bob Mathias Stadium in Tulare, Dave Keller along with Bill Roberts, high school football on KCOK 1270 and Sequoia Cablevision Community Channel 24. And the game for the victory bell, it's turning into a great one. At halftime, it was looking a little bit shaky, 14-0 Tulare Union, and it had been all Redskins, not just on the scoreboard, but in the statistics. Awesome domination by this Redskin team. At this point, the second half has been all Tulare Western, and the Mustangs trail only by 7. They have the ball. However, they face a big 3rd down situation, a 3rd down and 5 on the 6-yard line of Tulare Union. So they will have some major thinking to do if they should come up short on this play. Do you go for the field goal, get within 4? Do you go ahead and go for the 1st down? Maybe it depends on how much they gain on this play, or it may not. They may already have a plan worked out. Hinojosa, wide right. Power, I know, full house backfield. All 3 backs in a line behind Ortiz. Ortiz drops back to pass. He throws for the right corner for Hinojosa. It is... Is it caught? No, it's incomplete. It may have been intercepted. Intercepted by Lee. Lee and Hinojosa went up for it, and Ronnie Lee came up with a terrific interception. Hinojosa and Lee did battle for it. It looked for a while like neither came down with it, but Ronnie Lee came up with the interception, and the Redskins take over on the 20-yard line, so a big drive for the Mustangs comes up short, but there still is lots of time left, and if this Mustang defense digs in, we are still talking about a possible barn burner. Lots of time left.
Lee made a great play, one-on-one coverage, played the ball perfectly, looked up when the receiver looked up, made a great interception.
Story and Martin wide right. The Redskins now moving from our left to our right, so they're wide to the near sideline. Give to Early. Early tries to hurdle one man and can't. He goes down on the 21, 2nd down and 9. Jimmy Parker, the tackle for Tulare Western. You got to give the Mustangs some credit as far as containing Early. Early is still getting some yards, but certainly not the way he's done in earlier games. He had 9 carries for 51 yards in the first half. Of course, he had his 27-yard gain just a few moments ago, so he's up at close to the 90-yard mark. But, boy, by this point in almost every other game, he's already been well over 100, and in some games he's been sitting on the bench waiting for the next game. Back in the out formation. This is a quick out to the near sideline for Martin. Martin will leap. It's incomplete. He was bumped a little bit by the defensive back, Hinojosa. And again, what they did was they simply threw a lob pass, an alley-oop, to allow Martin to leap on Hinojosa. And Martin got out there, but the ball was just overthrown a little bit. That's a timing play and a difficult one to complete, but they've got the ideal situation. But then Hinojosa giving Martin 9 inches. There we go.
Not exactly who bumped whom on that play. Both players were looking up at the ball all the way, and I think that's the reason there was no call either way, is that it was clear that both players were definitely playing the ball all the way.
That's a big factor. The referees really watch that on those contact plays. They watch whether you're looking at hitting the back or whether you're looking at the ball. And Hinojosa was looking at the ball. Backs in the eye. Anderson back to pass. Now he has some time. Steps up in the pocket. Now he's in trouble. Rolls out of the pocket, and he's going to be sacked. He is sacked back at the 22. He may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage, but still 4th down. Rocky Sanchez getting in there to make the tackle. And the Tulare Western defense is dug in and again held Tulare Union. So the Redskins are going to have to do some searching to find where that spark is that they had going on offense in the first half, as the Mustang defense is really dug in. Called a gain of 1 for Anderson, but 4th down in a punting situation. Anderson will do the punting. Back to receive is Anaya. Snap is a little bit high. Anderson goes up for it. Now he steps up into it and gets a pretty good kickoff. Anaya comes up and takes it on the 41. Has lots of room to run, comes into the sideline, stutter steps, and goes down on the 42. Ty Tarkington made the hit there. And it's 1st down and 10 for Tulare Western. And again, good field position. That's one of the things you really notice about the way this game is being played. The Mustangs had atrocious field position in the first half, and every time the Redskins got it, they were in great shape. The second half, completely different. Redskins always deep in their territory, and the Mustangs now on their 3rd possession, for the 3rd time, pretty good field position. Not as good as it was the first 2 times, though, when they were in Tulare Union territory, or at least at midfield. This is one receiver out wide right. Rattiz rolling out, steps up in the pocket, throws for Anaya out there. It's overthrown, incomplete. The coverage by Jimmy Jordan. Overthrown down the middle of the field at the 30. Some jostling going on the way downfield. Anaya could not get free of Jordan.
The out and up for Tulare Western, hoping to catch the defender, looking for that out pattern, then break it up, but great coverage all the way downfield.
Bill, if you get a chance, and maybe time to just check on that Porterville score. Again, this game has become so close now, and the Mustangs are playing so well, you have to consider they're right back in this, and you need to keep us appraised on how that Porterville game is going. And as we get more developments from Porterville, I will further explain what each possible outcome means. Mustangs have too many players on the field, and one of the players will have to hustle off. I believe it's an extra tight end. Back to pass is Rattiz. Rattiz throws a screen pass to Martino. It's incomplete. A good hit by Holland. But Martino had to go off his fingers. It was thrown a little bit high. And it's 3rd down and 10 as the Mustangs have suddenly elected to go to the air. Tulare Western on their own 43-yard line, and they throw 2 passes and see it go to 3rd down and 10. Anaya and Hinojosa come on. Rodriguez goes out, and I think Jackson went out with him. See what they go to on 3rd down and 10. It's Hinojosa wide right. They usually on 3rd and 10, a passing situation, don't use that power eye, and they indeed don't. It's Anaya and Hinojosa out to the right. Ortiz back to pass, throws up the middle, incomplete. Anaya was not looking when it was thrown. Coverage by Jimmy Jordan, who thought he might have intercepted it because he saw it, and Anaya didn't. Anaya was not looking, as the timing on that play did not work out the way it should have, and it's 4th down, a punting situation.
Dave, with 2:19 to go in the 3rd quarter, Menachie has just scored, and they are leading Porterville by a score of 12-6.
Well, we will remind you again, if Porterville loses and Tulare Union loses, that means nothing. That will not do the Western Mustangs one bit of good. Jackson to punt. He steps up, gets off a fairly short kick, fair catch called for by Lee on the 28-yard line. Martin comes wide to the right. Wide left goes Story. Backs in the I formation. That is Jackson, the up man, the fullback. Early is the tailback. This is the give to Jackson. Jackson, big hole. He's across the 40. He's in over the 50. He may be gone. He's at the 40, the 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Tulare Union. Joe Jackson, 72-yard touchdown run, his 2nd touchdown of the night. And with 4:56 to go in the 3rd quarter, the Tulare Union Redskins show a bit of their explosiveness to go out in front, 20-7, with Marco Zwan on to try to make it 21. Gary Johnson to hold. Zwan, the soccer-style kicker, right-footed. There's the snap. It's placed down. The kick is up, barely away, and it's good. Timeout on the field. 4:46 to go in the 3rd quarter. Check of the scoreboard shows Tulare Union 21, Tulare Western 7. Back at Bob Mathias Stadium in Tulare, Dave Keller along with Bill Roberts. High school football on KCOK 1270 and Sequoia Cablevision, Community Channel 24. And so far tonight, 21-7, Tulare Union over Tulare Western. But the way the Mustangs have moved the ball, it's a totally different situation. They were down by 14 at the half, but when they hadn't moved the ball at all at that point, they had to be very concerned about their chances in the second half. They're down by 14 now. They have less time to work with, but really, their chances are brighter than they were at halftime because they've shown definite signs of life on offense, starting to move the ball, and they have a chance to get back in this one. But they'll need to, again, to pull that Union explosive offense in check. This is taking the kickoff by Anaya on the 7-yard line. He's out past the 20 to the 25, and there he goes down. That was Hinojosa on the return, make it to the 25. First and 10 for Tulare Western. That's where they will go to work. Trailing 21-7. 4:40 to go in the third quarter. Porterville is trailing, and all that will do for Tulare Western is make them all a little bit more frustrated that they lost to Porterville. They are a very fine football team, the Mustangs are, and right now they find their backs to the wall. They need to start mounting a drive now, down by 2 touchdowns. Hinojosa comes wide to the left, Anaya also to the left. Mustangs moving from our right to our left, backs in the I formation. Lots of stunning now by the Union defense, and one of them jumped across. Holland was the first to cross. And we will see if he was drawn or if he just got an exceptionally quick jump to an extent that they'll be backing it up. That it was. A little anxious. Bobby Holland jumped across. May have been stimulated to move by one of the other defensive linemen also moving for Tulare Union.
Or possibly the cadence that happened a couple of times right off the bat in the first couple of plays of the game. And then did not rear its ugly head until just now again.
30-yard line then. First down and 5 for Tulare Western. A good chance for them now to take advantage of first and very short yardage, a situation you don't often get. Backs in the I formation. Ortiz turns and hands off to Henderson. Henderson tries the right side, doesn't get much. He might have squeezed a yard out of that. Ty Tarkington hit him. Had some help from some of his friends on that left side. Call it no gain at all. Second down and 5. If there's been a big story tonight as far as any kind of matchup, it's been the way that Tulare Union's been able to control Todd Henderson. When we saw them play last week, the Mustangs, really Henderson was about the best thing they had going. And he really looked like a super back. He still is a super back. He's just a sophomore, but he's had problems tonight getting things going. 4 carries, 3 yards. Back to pass for Tees. Play action. In trouble from Holland. Holland will sack him. Back on the 23-yard line. Blindside, too. I'm not sure Ortiz even saw it coming, and Bob Holland got him. Holland, the weak side linebacker. He and Donnie Miller flip-flop. Miller always lines up on the side with the tight end, and Holland lines up on the away side, and that gives him a lot of extra opportunities. He is a great linebacker, but one of the reasons we call his name so often is he doesn't face the extra blocking that Donnie Miller faces, who takes on the tight end, and this is the kind of situation it opens up where Holland, with his tremendous quickness, is able to run all the way across field to make the tackle.
I'm surprised Ortiz held onto the ball that time. When you don't see the quarterback coming and you're looking for somebody downfield with the ball in one hand, you very easily have a chance of dropping that, and Ortiz did a nice job just to hang on. But Bobby Holland really did get in there very fast and made a very good defensive play.
Robert Perales was injured on the play, and he hobbled off. Escamilla comes in for him. And it's 3rd down and 12. Loss of 7 on the play. Back to the 23-yard line. 3rd and 12 for the Mustangs. Bobby Holland almost jumps again. He's anxious to get going. Ortiz back to pass. Has some time. Now he's in trouble. He's tackled. Holland got him, but he was gotten first from behind by one of the other Redskins, who we will try to get as he gets up. That is Frank Arosa, the nose guard, who got in there to get him. And it's 4th down in a punting situation for the Mustangs. The Redskins doing a little bit more now to try to assert themselves here and regain control of this ball game. They had the game well in hand at halftime, not in terms of the score, but just in terms of the way the game was going and how well they were playing. But the Mustangs really came to life here in the early part of the 3rd quarter. Now things starting to slip a little bit for Tulare Western, as they will have to punt. Jackson steps up, barely gets it away, end over end. It will be taken by Lee on the 40, and he goes down to the 36. Great field position for the Redskins on the 36. R.J. Zacconi, the tackle. Benji Betancourt there as well. 1:56 to go in the 3rd quarter. Tulare Union leads 21-7. But they have great field position and a chance to add to that. This becomes a situation where this Mustang defense has to really dig in. And when you look at the way they've played tonight, you have to think they have a chance to do it. They've done a great job tonight in almost all aspects of the game. This is the give straight ahead to the fullback. That's Jackson. He gets down to the 32. Gain of 5 on the play for Jackson. Tackled by Salazar and a few other men on the inside there. You got to remember now, there are 21 points on the board for Tulare Union, but a big part of that is two big plays by Jackson, runs of 42 and 72 yards. And you can't take those away, but if you take away the big plays, on the average play-to-play basis, this Tulare Western defense has been a great match for the Union offense. This is the option right. Anderson keeps it. Now he pitches out. The ball is loose. Early falls back on it on the 34-yard line. Perhaps an ill-advised pitch by Anderson. He pitched it as he was going down. You want to come as close to that point as you can without being out of control, and he was out of control when he pitched it.
The Redskins very fortunate to keep hold of that ball and keeping the ball deep into Mustang territory at the same time. They have it now on the 33, and for the first part of this second half, the field position seemed to be all in favor of the Mustangs. Now it's shifting back over to the Redskins, and they are in good position here with just about 35 seconds to go in the third quarter.
Jackson has a chance to go over 600 yards on the season in rushing. He started the game at 459, but he's already up close to that 600-yard mark. Give it to Early, tries the left side, and quickly gets down inside the 30 to the 28. Still short of the first down to the 28-yard line. Fourth down for Tulare Union, but fourth down and very short. Fourth down and 1 yard to go. Middle of the defensive line for Western, that tackle. 7 seconds and counting. That might have been the last play of the third quarter of football here tonight. And that it is. We have a timeout on the field. We've come to the end of 3 quarters of play. Checking the scoreboard shows Tulare Union 21, Tulare Western 7.
B.F. Goodrich all-terrain TAs, the exact same.
Dave Keller along with Bill Roberts, high school football on KCOK 1270 and Sequoia Cablevision, Community Channel 24. We're starting the fourth quarter of play. Tulare Union over Tulare Western in the game for the victory bell. Already held by Tulare Union. Right now they're holding on to it. They lead 21-7. And the Mustangs will try to wrest it away with a furious fourth quarter rally. We'll see what they can do. But the Redskins have the ball, and that's the first thing that the Redskins or the Mustangs will have to do is take it away from them. It's fourth down and 1, so this will be a big fourth down play for that Mustang defense. You got to give them credit. They have held Lewis Early to under 100 yards as we enter the fourth quarter, and I don't know how many times we've seen that. Well, we've never seen that done. I know that Early did not get his 100 in the Hanford game where he sprained his ankle. Backs in the I formation, fourth down. Give to Early. Early in trouble in the backfield, and he doesn't get the first down. He stopped back at the 30-yard line. A loss on the play as the right side of the defensive line really dug in. Jim Parker, the tackle, along with Mike Martino. They stopped Early, and the Mustangs come up with that big play on defense that they needed. They take over on downs on the 30-yard line.
That's pretty unbelievable. That's just a credit to that Mustang defense. So many times this year, Dave, we've seen that play's almost a gimme for the Tulare Union team. It's almost they go for it on fourth and a yard to go. With that offensive line and the running backs they have, they seem to always make it. That's a very, very big play in this game. Great defensive stand by the Mustangs.
Straight I formation with a flanker on the left side. This is the pitch out to Henderson. Henderson trying to turn upfield, trying to turn that corner, really can't do it. He goes out of bounds around the 35. Still might have gotten his 5 yards out of it. Might have gotten a little bit more than I thought. But I had a hard time really getting that one block where he could cut back and turn upfield. He had to just pretty much run for the sideline. See where they spot it. Now, they may spot it back about where I initially indicated it would be back. Oh, no, they're going to spot. Well, wait. Let's wait till they put it down. They're going to put it down around the 35. Gain of 5 for Todd Henderson.
You know, this is an important part of the game, Dave, because at this particular point, you figure that the Mustangs trying to get back another score and be a touchdown down, they are going to have a limited number of drives, a limited number of chances to get back, whatever that number is right now. And if the more that Tulare Union can hold them from getting past a certain point on the field and keeping them in their own territory, the further they have to go, and the clock works against them. So it's to the Mustangs' advantage, if nothing else, to get the ball a little bit more out of their own territory.
Well, this is their last drive where they really don't have to watch the clock that much. After this, they'll really have to start thinking about the clock. Possibly a blitz. This is the pitch out to Henderson. Steps over one tackler. He's out towards the 40 and has the first down. Gain of 6. Todd Henderson tried the right side with some great running, got out to the 40-yard line, and Todd Henderson coming to life a little bit. Jimmy Jordan, the tackle for the Redskins. We unofficially had Henderson with 3 yards in the first half, and there's last 2 carries for 5 and 6 now, starting to move the ball upfield. as I was saying, they can do that on this drive. After this, once Union's had a chance to have the ball again, run down the clock some, if the Mustangs are still trailing by a couple of touchdowns, they'll have to start thinking about factors that can keep the clock from running quite so quickly. Martino is the up man in the eye. Henderson's back. First down and 10. Pitch left to Henderson, trying to get to the far sideline. Turns upfield, hurdles one man, and goes down to out to the 45, out right around the 46-yard line. It will be 2nd down and 6. A gain of 4 for Henderson.
Looks like they were going to make a lot of yardage on that play. They had so many men in front of it, but the Redskins really came down and smashed that play down after a gain of about 4 yards. Good offensive blocking out to the left, but then again, it was very nicely countered by some good defensive play.
Tulare Union on their own, or Tulare Western on their own 46. 2nd down and 6. Backs again in the I formation. Henderson moved. He's set now. He's okay. I guess that's all right. Henderson takes the handoff. Tries the left side. Doesn't get much. Out to the 49. May have bulled 3 yards out of it, and if he did, that was to his credit because he didn't have much with which to work over there. Donnie Miller from his linebacker spot, the tackle. Out to the 49, call a gain of 3, 3rd down and a long 3.
And the clock continues to wind down to 10.5 minutes to go.
Well, these unpredictable Mustangs. Pat Plummer was telling me today that they aren't predictable. They don't tend to show tendencies, and I've got to agree with him. Last week, this is exactly what they did. They went to Henderson. I'm sure Mike Henderson saw that on film, but now they're back to going to Henderson on every play. 3rd down and 4, or a long 3. Ortiz looking for a quick pass. It is complete. A great catch by Anahosu. Catches it on one knee at the 44 for a 1st down. Gain of 9 on the play. Jimmy Parker the coverage, but a good pass and a nice sliding catch by Anahosu. Went down to one knee as he caught it. He wanted to play pro rules, so he got up and ran with it, but they'll call it back to the 44. 1st down and 10 on the 44 for Tulare Western. And again, I was going to finish that one thought, which is that now they're back to going to Henderson every play, which is exactly what we saw last week and what we thought we'd see at the start of play tonight. We haven't seen it till just now.
Nice catch in a pressure situation. Very nice catch.
That was a very much of a pressure catch. A big play for the Mustangs. Ortiz, play action, rolls out. Looking downfield, has lots of time. Going for the right side for a wide open Rodriguez at the 20. He catches it, and he can't get away from the tackler, but it's a 1st down. A gain of 25 on the play. The tackler was Tarkington down to the 20-yard line. Ortiz rolled left and threw back to the right side of the field to a wide open Rodriguez who made the catch. Tarkington got there and made a nice open field tackle, but somebody let Rodriguez get that open in the first place, and that was a problem. But again, anytime you roll your quarterback one way, throw back across the field, it works well.
That's exactly what happened. Ortiz rolled to his left, and the flow from that defensive secondary went with him to the far side of the field, and the wide open side and for the completion on the near side of the field.
Just a beautiful play by the Mustangs, and now the Mustangs go back into their power eye. Martino, the power eye back. Play action pass by Ortiz. Now he's in trouble. He throws for an open Anahosu, but coming across for the interception is the defensive back picking up down the far sideline. It is being returned out past the 25 by the Redskins out to the 28-yard line. I cannot come up with the interception. The interception was by Jimmy Jordan coming across. Jordan picked it off on the goal line. Anahosu was temporarily open, but the ball hung up in the air long enough for Jordan to come across and pick it off. And the Redskins return it out to the 27-yard line, a 27-yard return. Jordan could have gone into the end zone and said that his momentum carried him there, but instead he decided to run it out, and it was a good decision as he came out to the 20, they call it the 28. 1st down and 10 for the Redskins on the 28-yard line. Martin is wide right. Wide left is Story. Backs in the I formation. Pitch out right to Early. Early turns upfield, and he's in trouble around the line of scrimmage. Doesn't get much. That Tulare Western defense really got in there to nail him. So Ortiz, seeing the opportunity for a touchdown, laid things out just a little bit too slowly on that one. Anahosu had his man beat by a step or so. It would have been a tough pass to complete because the opening wasn't that great, but there was an opportunity, and it was just a little bit underthrown. That gave Jordan a chance to come across and pick it off. 2nd down and 10 for the Redskins. They are on their own 27-yard line with the backs in the I formation. Anderson wants Story to come over to the near sideline, the left side. Now both receivers are there. Anderson, play action, looking for a quick pass to Chaboin, who's wide open. He catches it on the 40, and he's tackled by Leal on the 44, out of bounds on the far sideline. Beautiful pass by Anderson, and Chaboin doing a good job of holding on. Earlier in the year when we saw Johnny was having a little bit of a problem holding on to those very hard passes by Anderson. One of the things with Anderson is his arm is almost too good, and he throws it so hard that he's tough to hold on to. In this case, Sheboygan really starting to show the hands, and he held on for a nice reception. 43-yard line. Out to the 43, first down and 10 for Tulare Union. Martin comes wide left, Story on the left side as well, the near sideline. Backs are split on first down and 10. This is Anderson running. No, he handed off to the fullback who went straight ahead. That was Jackson out past the 45 to the 47. Gain of 4 on the play. Parker, the tackle for Tulare Western, along with Salazar. The clock will become a factor very quickly here, especially if Union gets a couple of first downs. 7:11 to go and counting here in the ball game. 21-7.
Already can make an argument that it is a factor, Dave, with now under 7 minutes and down by 2 touchdowns. And, of course, Tulare Union will just want to grind it out, keep, as you say, making those first downs.
Ball spotted on the 47, second down and 6. Anderson trying to get the backs placed where he wants them. Now they're split. He's going to call a timeout. He didn't like what he saw, and we'll keep it here as the Redskins want to talk things over. They feel like at this point, with 6:40 to go in the ball game, they have things pretty much under control if they can get a couple of first downs. With a second down and 6, they want to make sure that they aren't in a formation that doesn't exist in their playbook. They'd like to make sure that this is something they've seen before. Tulare Western defense again hoping to come up with a couple more big plays, and that's what they've been able to do so far tonight. They've done a good job of keeping this game close.
That's a smart call in that situation, because if you blow your play or you get a penalty on it and you come up and it's third down and long, then you've been in a situation where the Mustangs can stop you on play and get the ball right back. But now they take the timeout and regroup. They have a couple of chances to make the first down. And of course, if they do, every time that the Tulare Union team makes a first down, you have to figure some 2.5 minutes or so are going to go off that clock. And now with it down to 6:40 to go in the game and 2 touchdowns to go, that is the big factor in the game at this point.
One thing that the Mustangs have going for them is Ricky Ortiz, despite a completion percentage that is not spectacular, he's had some pretty good success as a big play quarterback. His yards per reception this year are very good. He's averaged over 7.5 yards per attempt, I should say. Every time he passes the ball, complete or no, they average 7.5 yards in advancing the football. And that is unusually good. There's only 1 or 2 other quarterbacks in the area that can match that. This is Anderson running the option near side. Pitch out to Early. Early with 1 man to beat. Turns the corner but can't quite break it. Anaya got him, but Early still got inside the 50 down to the 48. A gain of 4 on the play, and it's third down and 2 yards to go. Anaya, a nice open field tackle as Early really turned on the afterburners, but Anaya can move too.
Well, the third down play of the game, and it looks like it's a pretty good 3 yards for Tulare Union to go. Amazing in this game that the Mustangs, not that they stopped Tulare Union, but so consistently have stopped Tulare Union on big plays. Tulare Union is known for that. Let's see if they can get it here.
This is indeed a big play, 49-yard line. They might force the Redskins to punt if they hold them this deep. This is the give to the second man, and they held him. It was Early who got only to the midfield. He may have lost a half yard on the play, or at best got back to the line of scrimmage. And the Tulare Western defense is dug in again. Mark Tennant, the leader there as far as making that tackle, and I think I see the punting unit coming on the field. Either that or there are 15 players bringing in the play from the sidelines. I think we'll call it the punting unit.
The clock does continue to run, though, Dave, on that third down play. Now 5, 31, 30, and still running.
The 4th time tonight that Tulare Western has held Early to no gain or a loss. Spectacular. We've not seen any team come close to doing that well. Oh, one of the Mustangs, Salazar, jumped across the line. It's going to be a 5-yard penalty against Tulare Western. First down and 10 for Tulare Union. Unbelievable. Miguel Salazar, so intent on the possibility of blocking that punt, and it's not going to get blocked that way. It's a 1st and 10 for Tulare Union. So a big break for the Redskins, and Salazar is going to be comforted by his teammates. I guess that's the only way to put it. Frank Leal, who is also a sophomore, will talk to him and say, well, there's a lot of sophomores around a lot of places who aren't playing varsity football, and that's a credit to those sophomores at Tulare Western that they contribute as much as they do. They do a great job, and of course you got to point out Bobby Pierce has done such a fine job as a sophomore linebacker for Tulare Union. Give to Jackson. He breaks a tackle to the 40, still on his feet and down to the 30. First down. Gain of 15 for Jackson. First down, Tulare Union. Mike Martino got him, and boy, the Mustangs will hope that that penalty is not the play which breaks their backs. 4:51 to go. It certainly hurt them, but if they let down now, it'll really be the one play you can look at that put this game on wraps.
Now, Tulare Union turnovers allowed the Mustangs to get a touchdown, get back into the game, and that's what the Mustangs need right now. Because Tulare Union, if they keep possession now with a first down, the clock 4.5 minutes, it's going to run down another couple of minutes, and it's going to be just about over, except that you have the fact that there's always a chance of a fumble on these plays.
Now, that would be a big thing for the Mustangs. They have to start. Oh, and the Redskins may have taken too much time, which will be a big edge for that Mustang defense. They don't really need any help as far as an ability, and when they can get a 1st and 15 situation, that helps them out a good deal. That will back things up for the Redskins to the 35, where it is 1st and 10 for Tulare Union, or rather make it 1st and 15 on the penalty now.
Well, if things continue this way, no matter what Porterville does, as you know, Dave, it will be a situation where the Tulare Union team will be undefeated, 5-0 in league play, and the number 2 seed in the playoffs.
And what's their prize?
I know the answer to that one. They will not only get the victory bell, but they will...
No, I don't mean that prize. I mean the playoff prize.
They will get a playoff shot.
No, that's... Who do they get to play, Bill?
They will get to play here.
Oh, well, you look at the bright side. You're an optimist. They're playing west.
It doesn't matter.
This is the game to Jackson. Jackson down to the 30. Gain of 5. 2nd down and 10. Well, it's not time to start counting on that game next week. If things for the Mustangs could turn around quickly if they could get a turnover. There is a hurt Mustang who's hobbling around. That's Charlie Schemelbeid who's hurt. And we'll see if he's able to stay in the game. He really appears to be hobbled, but so far, they got to stop. I'd be surprised if the official let him stay in. A lot of times the officials will stop and force the player off. They're not doing it. They're going to let Charlie stay in, and we'll see how he does. He may have just gotten bruised, but let's see. This is the give to Early. He tries the left side, and he's down to the 25. The tackle by Schemelbeid, I think. They ran right at him, and he can hardly get up. Third down and 5. And now we'll see a big 3rd down play. 3:31 and counting. So another 1st down for Tulare Union would not mathematically eliminate the Mustangs, but it would pretty much take care of things. This is a play, or I would imagine the Mustangs or the Redskins will run 2 plays. They will go for it on 4th down. So these are 2 plays where the Mustang defense will have to dig in or pretty much forget about the bell for this year. Martin wide left. Wide right is Story. Anderson rolling out. He may look to throw. He's looking into the end zone. Now he'll throw into the left corner of the end zone for Martin. Incomplete. He simply threw it away, and it almost landed on the track and bounces out towards the street. He pretty much put it out there in a position where it could not be intercepted. 3:07 to go. That stops the clock, but it's 4th down, and I imagine, again, the Redskins will run a play. I'm a little surprised they didn't stay on the ground just because they had 2 plays to go. In addition to that, it could have taken a little more time out off the clock.
A couple of ways to look at it. That is certainly one way. Another way is that you expect the Mustang defense to be looking for that run, and you might catch them off guard. Of course, the thing you want to do if you don't have a play, throw that ball away and come back and run it on 4th and let the clock keep running.
25-yard line, backs in the eye. Jackson is up early. He's back to pass. Anderson looking to throw again. Very deep drop. Could be a screen pass. That it is. It is to Jackson. I believe it was incomplete. Went through his hands on the 30. It was incomplete. Pressure by Charlie Schemelbeid. .302 to go, and that's where the Mustangs take over. 3:02 to go in the game, and now they're faced with a situation, Tulare Western is, where they have time, but they have to score quickly. And it puts a lot more pressure on you. And you have to look at the fact they were not able to score more than 1 touchdown under normal circumstances. And now they face a situation where they are not only down 2 touchdowns, but they have to score under very, very tough circumstances. From the 25-yard line, let's see if Ortiz goes to the air. It is the play action, the fake to Henderson, the throw to Anaya. Anaya can't catch it. He's hit by Ron Lee. They'll call the flag. They'll throw the flag on Ron Lee and say it was an early hit by Ronnie Lee. That will move it up first 15 yards, a 1st down for Tulare Western. It was close. Tough call either way. Lee really timed the hit very, very well, but it was so close that the call could have gone either way, and it went against Tulare Union, and a 1st down for Tulare Western, the 15-yard pass interference call in high school ball. Ball is placed on the 40-yard line. Clock showing 2:57 to go in the game. The Mustangs, of course, looking to score, do an onside kickoff, and then score again. And the odds are long, but again, you take what you can get. That's the best of the situation they've got right now. They want to keep firing. They have a chance to do it. It can be done. Stranger things have happened. Backs in the I formation. Ortiz back to pass. Has some time. Throws it out. And it's a great, no, it's incomplete. A great try by Hinojosa. Dove back for the ball. The ball was thrown a little bit behind him at the midfield stripe. And it was incomplete. Second down and 10. 2:52. One thing about the Western attack is they'll be throwing a lot. And if they get the incompletes, they will certainly not take much time off the clock. But I'm sure they'd prefer to have the completes and take some time off.
Little red numbers seem to roll on you, too, down in the field. The second down now. And they also have to be concerned with the clock. But given the context of the game right now, if they could get a quick score, they do have time to try the onside kick. It's a long shot, as you say, but it's possible.
Jackson wide left, and Anaya is wide right. Backs in the eye. Back to pass Ortiz. Heavy rush. He's in trouble. He gets away from one man. Now he's sacked. Sacked back on the 29-yard line. A loss of 11 on the play. The Redskins stormed in there. A couple of men key on getting him. Martinez got in there, and there was help on the play from a couple of the others. I know Holland put on some of the initial pressure. Don Miller also getting in there from a linebacker spot. And now the Mustangs really in a hole as the clock runs on a sack. So with 2:20 and counting, the Mustangs face a third down and 21 yards to go. So this could be your ball game right here. They're going to have to put it up for grabs. The Redskins will be in a deep zone and a situation where they will have every opportunity in the world to pick things off if the ball is thrown errantly. Ortiz back to pass, tries the left side up for grabs, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Tarkington, I believe. No, maybe it is Tarkington. He's into Western territory at the 40, and he goes down to the 37-yard line, and that should pretty much do it for things here tonight. As far as this ball game goes, the Tulare Union Redskins, with 1:54 to go, have taken over, and I know that the Mustangs can't have more than one timeout left. I don't believe. They called at least one. They might have two, but I don't think they have more than one, which means that the Redskins could just run some simple running plays and run out the clock without even getting a first down, I believe. So the bell, it would appear, will stay on this side of the field, the Tulare Union side. Tulare Western will go home disappointed, but they put up a game fight against a Tulare Union team that is as fine as any team in the Valley. And again, we'll say what we said earlier. Let's watch this play now. Anderson gives to the up man. That is Jackson, I believe. Jackson carries down to the 31-yard line, a gain of 8. Charlie Schemelby, the tackle. Gain of 8 for Jackson. This is a Tulare Western team that is clearly one of the two best teams in the EYL. They gelled at the end of the season, maybe 1 week too late. They played Porterville in a game at Porterville in the first game of the season. They weren't quite ready, and the Panthers were able to beat them in a very close game on the field there at Jamison Stadium. If those two teams were to play tonight, I don't think that those of us who have seen a lot of Porterville and Western have any question that now Western would beat them, or would be at least the favorite by a good margin. This is the give to the up man. It's Jenkins. Jenkins pushes inside the 30. He may have the first down. 49 seconds to go and counting. The fans starting to head for the exits. Angel Castellanos, the tackle for Tulare Western.
One more play, David. That should do it.
Third down and 1. Jenkins comes off. So we will have playoff action for you next week. Tulare Union and West High of Bakersfield here at Bob Mathias Stadium. 33 seconds and counting. This will be the last play of the game. And we look forward to next week's playoff game right here at home in Bob Mathias Stadium. And usually if you're a number 1 seed in your first playoff game, you don't face an easy team, but you face a little easier team than West of Bakersfield. Now you hear the fans on the Union side. We're on the Union side of the field tonight in the press box on the visitor's side. And you hear them start to make some noise on what will be the last play of the game. The give to Jackson, I believe. He goes straight into the middle of the line. There are 4 seconds and counting. You may hear him count it down. And there it is, the end of tonight's ball game. Tulare Union has gone to a 21-7 lead over a gutsy Tulare Western team. And when you take a look at some of the scores in the EYL this year, the 4 previous games, Tulare Union absolutely rolling over everybody. An amazing performance by Tulare Western. They did a great job. They hung in there and lost by 14 points. And, you know, you can't ever be happy with it. I know they're not happy with it, but boy, they did a great job to hang in there. Coaches over there giving each other a little hug. We mentioned earlier, good rapport between Mike Henson and Pat Plummer.